Are you thinking about moving to Sacramento, California? Before you pack your bags, pump the brakes, let us take you on a quick little journey about the good, the bad, and everything in between about living here in 2025. From the rise in housing prices to the unmatched outdoor activities, there's gonna be a lot to unpack. So let's make sure that Sacramento is still the place to be for you.
Let's check it out. Hi, we're Lauren and Lance of the Living in Sacramento team, and on today's video, we're going to give you an insider's look at what it's really like to live in the Sacramento metro area in 2025. We're diving into the pros and cons through the eyes of a local. So whether you're considering making the move or just curious about what's changed, stick around. This is the video you're not going to want to miss.
First up, let's talk about the biggest pro that everyone loves and the con that's definitely going to surprise you.
All right, so for the first stop on our day, before we get into the pros and cons, the first thing I want to tell you about is we went to our favorite coffee shop this morning, Chocolate Fish, out here in East Sacramento. It's a delicious cup of coffee. So we're going to take you on a little trip throughout the day, stop at some of our favorite spots as we tell you about the pros and cons for Sacramento in 2025. Now, let's start with Sacramento's biggest perk. The biggest perk is definitely going to be its central location. You're only about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Lake Tahoe. You're 2 hours away from San Francisco, and you're only about a 3-hour drive from Yosemite, and you're close to a ton of different day trips. If you're someone who's into going to national parks or state parks, we have those all within fun, easy day trips out of Sacramento. Now, if you're a wine enthusiast, we're also conveniently only about an hour to an hour and a half from Napa Valley, where some of the best wine on the West Coast comes from. But if you don't want to make the long trek down to Napa to check out awesome wine, you're only about an hour's drive to Amador County, where there's some stellar wines that have won a ton of different awards out of Amador. So if you're a wine enthusiast, we've got all of these things super close and convenient for you. Now, weekend trips are also a breeze with easy, convenient destinations like Bodega Bay if you want to go check out the ocean, or Carmel by the sea, or heck, if you want to check out Yosemite and take in some great hikes, you can definitely accomplish those in day trips as well. I would say one of the biggest pros to living in Sacramento is that whether you're an outdoor enthusiast or you're someone who likes a little bit of variety like the city, the mountains, wine country, or you want to go check out the ocean, we're conveniently centrally located where it's just a quick drive to get to all of these awesome places. But here's the catch. With every single pro, there's always a con. It's not always a breeze here, and we do have some things that you definitely want to be aware of. The first one's going to be the wildfire seasons here. Now, knock on wood, we haven't had a ton of wildfires up in Northern California. Hopefully it stays that way. But if you watch the news at all recently, you've definitely heard of California wildfires, like some of the massive wildfires happening down in Los Angeles County and even San Diego right now. Now, unfortunately, even in Northern California, when we experience wildfires, while they haven't directly hit our city or even our suburbs that we talk about a lot on this channel, a lot of the Northern California wildfires, when they do happen and the winds shift, the smoke can carry into our valley and it can sit for days. Now, what this means and how it can impact life is it means that we get a lot of spare the air days where all of our outdoor activities are canceled. And if you're an asthmatic, it can definitely affect you. It can affect your quality of life if you need to go outside during those times. But knock on wood, hopefully our state's legislation can make some laws and change things when it comes to our wildfires so we don't see many more of them. I can personally tell you that I've lived in California my entire life, and it wasn't always like this. We didn't always have wildfires year after year after year. So hopefully things take a turn in the future and we don't deal with as many wildfires or heck any smoke in the greater Sacramento metro.
Now, one of Sacramento's strengths is going to be their stable job market, especially in healthcare and government jobs, which is right behind me at the state capitol. Now, the state capitol is going to be the hub for public administration and education in the state of California. Now, the excellent thing about the Sacramento job market is that the government jobs are going to provide stability and excellent benefits for a lot of the residents. Heck, we've even had a lot of you guys who are getting relocated to the Sacramento area specifically to work for some type of government agency or organization within the California state government. Now, the other pro or the other main employment sector in the Sacramento market is going to be be healthcare. You are going to have major hospital systems like Sutter, like UC Davis Med Center, Shriners Children's Hospital, and Kaiser Permanente, which in my opinion, I think they're one of the better healthcare provider options that we have in the state of California. But for you guys who are moving here, they're definitely a great option for employment. Now, we are starting to see a lot more as it relates to the tech sector, not as big as some areas like San Francisco, but we do have companies like HP, Oracle, Intel for the time being, Micron Technology. So there is somewhat of a growing tech sector, but it's definitely still not going to be as big as San Francisco. Now, the downside or the con is that if you're in a niche industry, sometimes it's going to feel like your options are going to be pretty limited. Now, opportunities outside of healthcare, government, and education, heck, even a little bit of tech sector, they're going to feel a little bit more limited than your major metropolitans like San Francisco or San Jose. Now, tech isn't going to be as prevalent here, but it is a growing industry, and entertainment is definitely going to be limited. It's definitely not going to be like Los Angeles. Now, the catch is some of you guys that are in specialized careers might have to commute, whether it's from a suburb to downtown Sacramento, or we've had a lot of you guys that have, remote or semi-remote work where you guys have to commute from Sacramento all the way down to the Bay Area 1 or 2 days a week or 2 or 3 days a month. So keep that in mind. There are going to be a couple areas that are going to be a little bit better for you if you have to commute down into San Francisco, and part of this video is figuring out the right area for you if you have to commute from a suburb down into downtown Sacramento. So there are going to be places that are going to be better than others depending on where you have to commute, but that's definitely where we can help you out with that.
All right, so next up, one of the biggest pros in my opinion is going to be the food scene here in Sacramento. So Sacramento is currently known as the farm to fork capital, and that's definitely not surprising because our food here is absolutely amazing. A lot of times you can get farm fresh food at tons of local restaurants, kind of like the one we're at right now. So the restaurant we're at right now is a super cute little spot in East Sacramento. It's called Origami Asian Grill. It's absolutely amazing. So if you're ever in Sacramento or if you move here, this is definitely one of the places that you're gonna have to come check out. Their food is awesome. It's all locally sourced and it's incredible. It's never a bad meal here. Now there's tons of little local eateries like this all across Sacramento, all across the suburbs as well. You're never gonna go without a great meal in the greater Sacramento metro. Now another thing that kind of ties into our food scene here is going to be the fact that Sacramento has a ton of awesome farmers markets. So you can find farmers markets located all across the city of Sacramento. But if you're not in the city of Sacramento, a lot of people who relocate here actually don't land specifically in the city limits. They land in a lot of the different suburbs that we cover on the channel, like Roseville, Rockland, Lincoln, Elk Grove, El Dorado Hills, Folsom, you name it. And the nice thing is even all of those suburbs have a ton of really good farmers markets that happen weekly all year long. So the nice thing about being in California, the nice thing about our great weather here is that it sustains our great food throughout the entire year. So you never have a season where there's not good food. The winter vegetables are just as good as the summer vegetables here, and you can find great produce all year long at a lot of the farmers markets. And to tie it all together, Sacramento, not only do we have great restaurants, great farmers markets, we also have a huge farm to fork festival that's super big every single year. So our Farm to Fork Festival is going to celebrate everything local, everything fresh. You can get a great meal at the Farm to Fork Festival. You can learn a lot about the different farms and local farmers around from this area and some of the different vegetables that maybe you haven't tried before. Specifically, Lance just learned about delicata squash this year and it changed his whole opinion on what squash is like. So I would definitely say that a pro to living in California is not just the great food, at the restaurants, but the access that you have to getting all of this quality food so you can make a great meal at home too.
But with every pro, there is a con, and the con here is that eating farm to fork or eating farm fresh foods is not always the cheapest. So with that is going to be the rising cost of food expenses. So a couple of things to note: the farm to table meals at some of these restaurants in the greater Sacramento metro can be a little bit more expensive than maybe some of the other traditional restaurants that you're used to. But with that comes amazing quality, amazing meals. And I can promise you this, that we've never had a bad meal or ever had a regretted meal at any of these places. The customer service is always amazing. The food is always extraordinary. It's one of those things that we always love to visit, even coming from Roseville to the downtown or the East Sacramento area. So in addition to some of these top restaurants being expensive, some of these specialty grocery stores can also be a little bit more expensive than some of your traditional, locally owned, traditional grocery stores. So keep that in mind. If you're going to Whole Foods, you're going to Sprouts, you're going to Trader Joe's, you might be spending a little bit more on your cost of living expenses, specifically your groceries.
But the nice thing about Sacramento is because we are super close to all of these farms, farm fresh produce, all of that is like, even when we have big outbreaks like the big chicken debacle that just recently happened, a lot of our grocery stores are still able to find things like eggs. So I know some other states during the chicken outbreak, you guys didn't have eggs, nor could your areas get eggs. But the nice thing about California is because we're super close to all of these different farms and actually where the food comes from. When there's issues like that, we are one of the areas that's actually able to get those produce items, those eggs, the beef, whatever it may be on the recall, we're able to get them back in our store sooner, so you're not without for as long.
Now, if you're raising a family and you're moving to Sacramento in 2025, the Sacramento suburbs are definitely going to have you covered, which is going to lead me into my next pro, which is going to be the suburban convenience that the greater Sacramento Metro has. Now, within a 15 to 30-minute drive from the downtown part of Sacramento, you are going to have amazing top-rated suburbs like Elk Grove, Roseville, Rockland, Folsom, Granite Bay, Lincoln, and El Dorado Hills, just to name a few. And these amazing suburbs are going to be known for their safety ratings, their top-rated school districts, and their family-friendly neighborhoods. Now, the cool thing about some of these amazing suburbs is that they're going to have everything that you need within these cities. So whether you choose Elk Grove, Folsom, or Roseville, you are going to have excellent dining, excellent shopping options. You're going to have a ton of entertainment options, and definitely things that are going to be fun for the entire family. Now, these suburbs are going to be designed for convenience. They're going to have easy freeway access, and they're going to have parks, they're going to have trails, they're going to have Costco's, Targets, everything that you guys ask us for on this channel. Now, with suburban convenience is also going to come that urban sprawl and traffic congestion, because unfortunately, the more that the city grows, the farther that you're going to have to drive. So as you've seen in some of the other videos that we featured on this channel where some of the new construction communities are, these suburbs are growing. West Roseville is going out west, Elk Grove, Rancho Cordova, and Folsom are growing south, while Lincoln and Rockland are growing north. With the growth of these suburbs, it's going to likely mean you're going to have a longer commute to the freeway, a longer commute from the freeway down to downtown Sacramento. Now, with that being said, Interstate 80 and Highway 50 are both going to be jammed packed during the commuting hours and rush hours, but like we've said in the past, if you're coming from the Bay Area or Southern California, our traffic here is still not as bad as what you're dealing with down there. The unfortunate thing is the infrastructure hasn't kept up with the pace of all the new growth that we've been having in the area. We have seen places like Roseville and Elk Grove start to expand streets to accommodate for some of the new construction growth, but still it hasn't kept up or hasn't kept its pace. All right, so the next pro that I'm going to talk about, which is probably one of my favorite things about the greater Sacramento metro area, is going to be that this is an awesome place for your outdoor enthusiasts, your outdoor recreation. Now, one of the main things that we talk about for outdoor recreation is going to be Folsom Lake. Now, Folsom Lake is going to be located a little bit further east. It's going to be, right around Granite Bay, Folsom, and El Dorado Hills, but that is going to be an excellent spot if you want to go out there in the summertime, especially in Sacramento when it gets hot. It's going to be a great spot for boating. It's going to be a great spot for going out and hanging out on the beach that they have over there at Beals Point. But that is always going to be a family favorite of ours. Now, just a little bit south of that is going to be Lake Natoma. Now, that's going to be another spot that we really love to frequent in the summer times. That one is not going to allow power boats on that one. Now, that little lake is going to be a little bit chiller. It's really awesome for paddleboarding. It's really awesome for kayaking. And that one's going to be right there in between kind of parts of Folsom and Orangevale. They're going to have crawdads on the lake, which is a great place to go get food after a long day of paddleboarding or kayaking. So in addition to Folsom Lake and Lake Natoma, you're going to have the American River, which is going to run east to west, and that's going to run from Hazel in Orangevale all the way down to the Sacramento River. Now, one of the fun things that we always love to do on the American River is to go do a little bit of rafting. You can start there at the Sunrise entrance, and then it'll land you down kind of somewhere down in Ansel Hoffman Park along the river. And then right behind me is going to be the Sacramento River, and that river is going to run north and south, kind of parallels along Interstate 5. And then they're going to have a ton of different awesome things that they're going to do down here. So they're going to have the Aftershock Festival. They're going to have Country in the Park down here, as well as, you can do picnics down here. You can do a ton of different things, and it's going to be an excellent spot where you can go fishing. Heck, even behind me, I saw a couple sea lions down in this river. So it's definitely going to be an awesome spot to check out. But for outdoor enthusiasts and recreation, there's going to be tons of things. There's also going to be a bike trail that's going to run along the American River that'll take you from Folsom all the way down into Sacramento. That's going to be about 33 miles of bike trail. Now, with all of the amazing outdoor recreation that we have in Sacramento, that's going to lead us to one of our most talked about cons on this channel, which is going to be the extreme heat or the summers in the Sacramento metro. We have had people that have moved from the Sacramento area specifically because of the heat. So it is one of those things that we want to make sure that you guys are aware of. Now, when we really break it down, or when we're really looking at a calendar, most of the time the Sacramento metro is going to have some awesome weather. We're going to have a beautiful spring, a beautiful fall. That's going to be predominantly a majority of the weather that you're going to experience in Sacramento. We are going to have some rain in the wintertime. It never snows here, so you guys don't have to really worry about it. It's wintertime, it's bright, it's sunny. It's about 60 degrees right now in the wintertime. So I know for some of you guys coming from the East Coast or the Midwest, that's going to be your guys' summer weather. Shorts, it's cold for us here, but it's going to be great weather. Now, the summertime, there are about 30 to 40 days per year where the Sacramento metro does exceed 100 degrees in the summertime. Now, with that being said, now those 30 to 40 days, which starts in the summertime, probably somewhere in the middle of June and kind of goes through probably the middle to end of August, you're going to have about 30 to 40 days of that 100-degree weather. But the thing that I always try to tell people about the heat in the summertime is it's never really a consistent 100-degree stretch for the entire summer, right? It may be 100 degrees for a couple of days, and then it's going to drop back down into the low to mid 90s, and then it'll creep back up to 100. Now, there will be a stretch, I would say probably in July and August, where we have seen temperatures that kind of creep up into that 105, 110 range, and that feels like it goes on for about a good 7 to 14 day stretch consistently, but then it starts to cool back down. Now, the other nice thing about our weather here is going to be the fact that even though it may approach 90, 95, 100 degrees during the day, it does still cool off at the nighttime, so it can still drop back down into the low to mid 70s, which gives you that nice breeze. So one of the things that we always tell people, especially when you're moving here and you're purchasing a home here, is get a whole house fan, because those things can be an absolute lifesaver in the summertime, because you can suck in all the cool air at nighttime.
Now, Sacramento might not be Los Angeles or like a New York City or heck, even a San Francisco, but Sacramento is definitely thriving when it comes to its arts and cultural scene. Which brings us to the next pro, which you guessed it, it's gonna be that Sacramento is thriving when it comes to its arts and cultural scenes. So right now, I'm right outside of the Sacramento Crocker Art Museum. You can kind of see it behind me. It's that cool little building back there. Now, they have some amazing art exhibits that happen throughout the year. They're constantly rotating art pieces. It's high end, it's awesome. It's a great place to come and check out many artists from across the world, as well as local artists. Now, aside from Crocker Art Museum, there's a ton of different art things that happen out here in Sacramento. You've got a lot of little local art studios that are popping up all across downtown Sacramento. You also have the Second Saturday Art Walk, which is something that happens every single second Saturday. It's absolutely amazing, the scene. You can come down, some of the streets are closed. You've got tons of different vendors. You've got local artists from just any type of art you can think of that you can purchase from local artists, which is really cool. It's an awesome date night to come and check out. It's also a fun thing to come and support local artists. If maybe you're looking for a specific piece for a new house, or maybe you're trying to change up some of the style in your home, you can definitely come down to the Second Saturday and find amazing artwork at great prices from local artists and a ton of different galleries down here as well. Now, one of the cool things that I love about Sacramento, especially when it comes to the art scene, is there's so many awesome murals all across the city. So when you're driving around Sacramento, you'll see cool art murals of Johnny Cash. There's a lot of cool murals, art galleries, and public installations of art throughout the entire city where you can check out some really cool artwork. Now, when we're talking about the art scene and the cultural scene down here, it's not just awesome artwork. We also have a really cool music scene here as well. There's a lot of fun places where you can check out local artists. Heck, you can even check out artists that come to this area before they even get big, which is super fun. We have a lot of cool places to go check out things like that. Ace of Spades is one of them. There's also a lot of cool theaters down here. At Christmas time, you can come check out the Nutcracker. You can also check out some traveling Broadway shows that come to the Sacramento area. So our art scene in Sacramento is definitely thriving. It's definitely a pro if you're considering a move to this area and that's something that's important to you. Or heck, if you just want to live in a more cultured area, this might be a great spot for you. I love the diversity when it comes to our art scene, our music scene. There's literally something for everyone here. Which brings us to our next con. So if you're looking for a lot of late night excitement, a lot of late night action, Sacramento might leave you wanting more. And so it's definitely something to consider if you're looking for that high-end nightlife vibe. Sacramento does have some cool bars that'll be open late night, but it's not as big as like a San Francisco or Los Angeles or a New York City or any one of those types of places. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. I definitely say that our city is a little bit more modest with a lot of things that'll close around midnight. There are going to be some bars that'll be open till 2 p.m. And if there's a fight streaming or something like that, there are places that you can go and check out things like that. But for the most part, a lot of things close earlier here. So if you're used to New York City or San Francisco or New Orleans or something where, you know, the nightlife is constant, it's a 24-hour scene, that's definitely not something you're going to get in Sacramento. But if you do want to live that midtown downtown lifestyle, you can definitely find that. You can definitely find housing in midtown and downtown. You can go to the bars. There's a cool bar scene. You can hang out there till about 2 a.m. till last call before they're kicking you out. So there is that scene here. You can also find some of those things locally in Roseville and Folsom, but just know that the options here are going to be a little bit more limited than what you might be used to if you're coming from a major metropolitan city. All right, so the next thing on our list for one of the things that you definitely need to know about moving to Sacramento in 2025, and this is going to be a huge pro, is going to be the diversity in neighborhoods here. So you can literally find any kind of house you're looking for. We've got new construction homes, we've got well-established neighborhoods, we've got luxury high-end homes, we've got homes with a ton of historic character and charm. Like specifically right now, I'm in East Sacramento in the Fab 40s neighborhood. This neighborhood is just built on charm. You've got beautiful canopy tree-lined streets. You've got a ton of different homes with different character. You've got craftsman style homes. You've got Tudor style homes. You've got famous homes like the home that Ronald Reagan lived in when he was the governor of California. There's just a ton of different charm and diversity down here in Sacramento. But the nice thing about the housing situation here is it's not like you have to be in Sacramento to get that diversity and charm. All of our suburbs have it too. So one of my favorite things about some of our suburbs is like Folsom has a really cute little old town area where you can find an older home with charm. Roseville has the same thing. You can also find new construction in all of these different suburbs, as well as some right here in Sacramento. Now the ones right in Sacramento, you're gonna be a little bit more on the outskirts, but you can still be within the city limits. Now maybe you don't wanna live in a big house. Maybe you wanna live in that cool little condo. You wanna do the midtown, downtown scene. You can definitely find that here as well. Sacramento just has so much to offer when it comes to the variety of housing choices, whether you're within the city limits or you're in one of our amazing suburbs. But like we've said before, with every single pro, there's always a con. Now, what's the con to the diversity in housing? It's going to be with demand skyrocketing. You're also going to see affordability starting to slip a little bit here. So depending on where you're coming from, this is all going to be relevant to maybe where you live now or what you're used to. You know, we have a lot of people that reach out to us from the Bay Area or Southern California, and they move up here and they realize, oh wow, it's a lot more affordable than what we were used to, where we are coming from. The median home price in the Sacramento Metro has risen over the last couple of years. So the entry point to get into this area is going to be a little bit tougher. So the longer you wait, sometimes the harder it is to either come back to California or to move to California in general. So just keep that in mind. The sooner you're able to make the move, the better it's probably going to be for you. Now, this isn't just when it comes to purchasing a home either. Rental prices in this area are starting to go up as well. So keep that in mind. Competition can sometimes be a little bit fierce here depending on the season that we're in and what inventory levels are like. But that's where we step in. We help negotiate a great offer. We help you find the right place. And we do our best to make sure you don't get into a bidding war and you don't end up in a house that you're unhappy with. And to wrap up a day around Sacramento, you can't help but stop at one of the iconic dessert spots in Sacramento at Gunther's for some amazing ice cream. It's right behind us. Living in Sacramento Metro in 2025 is a mix of highs and lows. The pros, incredible location, food, outdoor activities, and stable jobs. The cons, definitely rising prices, extreme summers, and challenges in growth. But the question is, can you handle all of the trade-offs? All right, so let us know in the comments down below what you think. Does Sacramento sound like it could be the right place for you? And if you're ready to make the move to the greater Sacramento Metro, that phone number should be popping up. We are the ones that answer every single phone call, email, and text message, and we would love to set up a game plan that is right for you and help make your move to the greater Sacramento Metro as easy as possible. Definitely make sure you reach out to us.